the Asian or the South Asian representation, especially when it comes to the UK. How do you see that sort of improving?
You just have to do good work. I think, writing articles like that where you explain to people, if you are brown and you're traveling places, you will have a different experience. You will have different thoughts, you'll have different feelings, you'll have different opinions, and you may be treated differently. That's not always a bad thing. Sometimes that's a good thing. Like if I go to Nepal, people are like, oh, he's this funny brown guy hanging out with all the white people. That's interesting. I'm going to go and chat to him. Or the point I made about Maori guy in New Zealand, who was like, oh yeah, it's like you're Indian. The British screwed that place over too. So like, there's a sort of like interesting, sort of like unlocking of doors in certain places by being from a diversity can do that. Diversity is important because we're dealing in a world that is not this kind of simple mono-ethnic nationalist world of 75 years ago. We live in a world where we're constantly being engaged with different ideas, different thoughts, undergoing assaults from nefarious agents or people with malintent to put misinformation towards us. We are in a connected global world. And you need diverse thought in organizations, in writing, to be able to make sense of all of that. So diversity is vital to succeed in understanding and interpreting the world. There's no point in me writing about the experiences of women in London because I just don't have that insight.
To get that perspective out is really important, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's just like, as I wrote about in the article, I want to hear about what it's like for Black British people to travel to South Africa. I mean, the only stories I hear about South Africa are people going for the rugby, the cricket, and the safari, and it's white men, usually, or drinking wine. Well, that's cool, but,
How do we get, I guess, more people interested within the creative field, especially when it comes to travel?
Tell stories that are relevant to them. That's why you need more diversity. When I travelled to India when I was 19, I couldn't find any books written by British Indians. I don't think any existed back then. There's nobody writing about what it was like to be a British Indian person travelling in India. It just wasn't there. So, like, the perception is actually not something that British Indian people do. It's something that white kids from private schools do. That's the perception that you can arrive at with that. So for media industries to survive, for media organisations to survive, they have to become more diverse. They do that by bringing in more diverse voices. And then that inspires the next generation to do it. There's a phrase, you can't be what you can't see. So until you see people like you on there, you're not going to be inspired to do it. I think that's probably the trick.